Indiana football has been terrible for basically its entire existence, like historically bad. For decades, they've been one of the blue blood basketball programs that doesn't really worry too much about football. But about 5 years ago, it was clear to Indiana leadership that things had to change, and they had to change now. Because today, football can make or break entire athletic departments, and the Hoosiers couldn't afford to waste any time. So they found a coach who had experience in not just turning programs around, but completely rewriting the culture. A coach that had a clear, simple message.
Pretty simple.
Refuse to lose, basically.
Catch is made. Is it a touchdown? It's a score for Indiana.
In these short 2 seasons, Coach Cignetti and Indiana have been a match made in heaven. And while it may seem like an overnight success, Cignetti's journey to the top has been this long, winding trail that was only made possible by him betting on himself when no one else would. He's done what most thought was impossible by lifting up Indiana football into the national championship discussion. He's brought belief to a fan base that had abandoned hope decades ago. Now the big question on everyone's mind is, how?
I win. Google me.
Coach Cignetti, like many coaches before him, started his grind as a grad assistant. Slowly, he jumped around from job to job, making his way up the coaching ladder, and eventually cemented himself as a recruiting coordinator for several FBS teams. He was integral in bringing Phillip Rivers and Russell Wilson to NC State, which eventually landed him a spot on Nick Saban's first ever staff at Alabama in 2007. Now, if you know anything about college football, then you know how invaluable it is to be a coordinator on Saban's Alabama staff. Whether you were a young coach looking to land your first head coaching job, or an experienced D1 head coach looking to rehab your image after a failed job somewhere else, there wasn't a better path to a head coaching spot than Nick Saban's Alabama.
You know, I really felt like after 1 year, I'd learned probably more about how to really run a program, A to Z. The previous 24 as an assistant, managing the staff, messaging with the team, how to practice, recruiting philosophy, basically, you know, how to win.
And when they did, but seasons passed, and despite it all, Cignetti knew he wanted more. He wanted to be a head coach.
Well, you know, my dad, College Football Hall of Fame, so I was on the sideline for every game, in the locker room at halftime, listening to Coach Bowden. I knew right then and there I wanted to coach. Nothing happens when people want it to happen. You know, as you move through your career and you're still just an assistant coach and not a coordinator, you get tagged a little bit. And my dad even told me, he said, you know, the great thing about this added responsibility is, you know, you're really going to learn a lot. The negative is you do such a great job, they're not going to want to take you out of that position. I didn't want to be a 58, 59-year-old assistant moving every 2 to 3 years, which I wasn't going to finish my career not being a head coach. So I made that move. I bet on myself. It's all I ever wanted to do since I was young, was be a head coach.
Curt Cignetti.
In 2011, Cignetti took a head coaching job at the FCS level at UIP, along with a 60% pay cut and inheriting a team with a 400 winning percentage in the previous 2 years. But none of that really mattered to Cignetti because, for one, he was back home in Pittsburgh, and 2, he knew he had the formula to win at any level. And the proof of that formula wouldn't take long. And during his tenure at IUP, he would post a 53-17 record that landed him an interview at Elon, another program in turmoil, having gone 4-20 in its last 2 seasons. But Coach saw potential in the program and knew he had what it takes to again turn it around. He quickly turned Elon into a winner, leading them to back-to-back FCS playoff appearances for the first time in school history, along with beating powerhouse James Madison and snapping their 22-game winning streak. And in December of that year, Coach Cignetti would accept the head coaching spot at that same James Madison. And wouldn't you guess, he kept winning. Over a 5-year span, he amassed a 52-9 record and took JMU up to the FBS level in 2022 and had them ranked 25 in the final AP poll in 2023. Coach was firing on all cylinders and looking to lead JMU to a conference title and perhaps even more in 2024. And that was when the phone rang. Indiana was the losingest FBS program in the country. They were a basketball school. No one cared if they won in football, but a few years prior, there was a slight mindset shift. Indiana President Pamela Whitten and Athletic Director Scott Dolson came together with a plan to invest more into the success of the football program. They knew that for any athletic program to thrive in today's landscape, football had to be the driver of the ship. But they were still lacking one thing: the right head coach.
For us, he was a perfect fit. Curt, welcome to IU.
Obviously, the history of Indiana football it is not very good. There was such a gloomy attitude toward Indiana football. I detected as soon as I got here.
You were asked, what will it take to elevate Indiana?
You know, I've done this before twice already, these kind of turnarounds. You know, in my mind, it was a chance to do it on the biggest stage. The first thing you got to do is change the way people think.
And that change of mindset was made clear December 4, 2023 in the historic Assembly Hall.
I'm super fired up about this opportunity. I'm never taking a back seat to anybody and don't plan on starting now. Purdue sucks. Michigan and Ohio State.
A little bit out of character for me, but I thought that's what this program needed. Someone to kind of carry the flag, lead the charge, to create the vision, not afraid of the big boys.
Cignetti got painted as cocky or unprofessional, but it was all a calculated plan to wake up the sleeping giant that is Indiana football.
Football school. There'll be a football school. 90% of your money in athletic comes from football, right?
And I think it's fair to say Coach backed up his word. An 11-1 season in his first year at the helm and a playoff berth in the first ever expanded playoff. So what was his secret? How did he turn Indiana into a juggernaut in the span of a few months? Well, consistency and getting 100% buy-in from players, coaches, and administrators.
I have not seen town during the daylight yet. I leave in the dark, I get home in the dark. My big thing is to always have a sense of urgency every second, minute, hour of the day.
Success is a choice, and nothing good in life comes easy. You got to be willing to pay the price. You got to be committed and understand that there are certain things you're going to have to give up. And you got to be disciplined and have consistency.
A lot of the assistant coaches have been with me the whole time. Mike Shanahan and Bryant Haynes, I hired those guys as part-time coaches at the Division II level for $6,000. Right now they're coordinators in the Big Ten. You have a certain group of guys on this football team that have a chip on their shoulder, and they got something to prove. Those are the guys you want. It's all about people. You got to bring the right people through the door, coaches and players, and create an environment and become the best version of themselves. I like winning, and I hate losing. Ever since I was a little kid, this is what I wanted to do.
Without question, Curt Cignetti has been able to completely change the narrative around Indiana football. And there's every reason to believe that they're just getting started. After the 11-1 season in 2024, the Hoosiers are on pace to be serious contenders for the national championship. But you have to remember that Coach is still doing all of this with underdogs, guys that he's brought in from his days at JMU, or just hitting on the right players in the transfer portal. What does this program look like in a couple of years from now when one of the largest alumni bases in the country really start to buy in? And that's not even to mention that for the first time ever, Indiana football was able to secure a major donation directly to the football program from their multi-billionaire alumni, Mark Cuban. It's looking scary for the rest of college football as Indiana has secured its head coach with an 8-year contract that's worth about $11 million annually. And after a historic, mind-boggling first ever win at Penn State, they're officially relieved of the title FBS program with the most losses in college football history. Without a doubt, Curt Cignetti and Indiana football have arrived and are here to stay.
I couldn't see any place I would go and not prefer to be here.